Welcome back to another episode of It's in the Details. You know what to do. Hit the like and subscribe buttons. Help your boy out. F1 is back. Tennis, still bringing that athleticism and some minor chuckles. But first, my voyage through the Best Picture nominees for the upcoming Oscars continues. If you've been watching, we talked about Dune a little bit, Power of the Dog, Don't Look Up, and today we're getting into Licorice Pizza. Licorice Pizza, Licorice Pizza, Licorice Pizza. Now, I loved it. I'm just coming off the top. I loved it. I loved almost every second of it. Almost every second. There were two scenes for me. I'm not overly sensitive. There were two scenes for me where I read some stuff about them and I'm still not really sure why they're in the movie. But it didn't offend me. And I'm not sure I'm the person that would be offended, but it didn't offend me. Outside of those two scenes, this movie is spectacular. Spectacular. I don't recall recently being this excited about a movie. I don't recall being excited about a movie recently like I am about this. The closest thing I've been this excited about is F1 recently. But that's something else entirely, right? Licorice Pizza tells the tale of these two people, a teenager and a not so teenager, and them maneuvering through the 1970s together, essentially. And I don't want to give too many plot points away. Like, if you've already seen it and you want to talk about something specifically with me, get in the comments. We'll go back and forth. I'm happy to do that. But if you haven't seen it, I need you to see it. Just see it. Don't look anything up about it. Don't try to find out the synopsis. What you get here is enough, and just go. Just go and watch it and enjoy it, okay? So these two people moving through life together in the 1970s. It is very much a love story, drama. It's got some comedy in it. It's got a lot of people in it, mostly of the big names, cameos, small parts. Bradley Cooper is in it for maybe 15 minutes total. Kills it, crushes it, Bradley Cooper. Just a hilarious character. Maya Rudolph has a little cameo. There's a little John C. Reilly spot. There's a Leonardo DiCaprio's daddy spot. Can't remember his name. I looked it up, forgot it already. Sorry, people. But Leonardo DiCaprio's dad's in it. He has a nice little spot. And before we go too deep into it, I'm calling out all these names. I haven't called out the stars yet. This movie did a thing with the credits, the end credits. Probably because it's based in the 1970s. It's kind of an old school format where they give you the character and the actor playing the character shown on top of clips, a scene from that character in the film. And as I'm watching these credits, I'm thinking, okay, that person killed it. That person killed it too. That person that was a hot 90 seconds. That person crushed. Oh my God. And him too. Oh, and the little one. And everybody killed it. Remember when I was talking about Don't Look Up last week? And I was saying, I've never seen a film where everybody kills it and I don't really enjoy the end product. Well, turns out I had a misinterpretation of what it meant to kill your performance because what those people did in Don't Look Up, much respect, what they did in Don't Look Up is not the same level of crushing a role like the people in Licorice Pizza did. All of them. There was even a little kid in it, a little like a Wyatt Langmore from for my Ozark fans, this kid looks like he could be a little Wyatt Langmore coming up, and very exciting. Just all of it, very exciting. Let's get to the stars. Alana Haim and Cooper Hoffman bring to you a level of charisma and passion and magnetism that I have not quite felt watching a movie in a very, very, very long time. If ever. Like, there are many movies and TV shows where I watch them and I'm into them and I really want to stick with them. Excuse me. Search Party. Search Party is the recent example of me falling head over heels for somebody's project. I didn't really talk about Search Party a bunch. We'll have to do something coming up soon. But season 5 came out, and I watched all of it in one night. But that's Search Party. So that's recent, but not a movie. Not a movie. And these two characters, amongst everybody else who crushes it too, but these two characters, it didn't really feel like I was watching them on screen. It felt like they were in my living room, which is strange to say, I understand. But it felt so close. And guys, I watched the opening scene, the first 3 or 4 minutes, 5 times in a row. Okay, so the first 5 minutes of the movie took me 20 minutes to get through because I just kept watching it over and over and over again. And that's how that started. That's how the film started for me. Now, I gather this was a picture made by Paul Thomas Anderson, Boogie Nights fame, The Master, Phantom Thread, There Will Be Blood. He's responsible for a lot of hotness. He's brought a lot of hotness to the people. And this is another one. Just another one, right? And just my jaw's dropped. And the reason I bring him up, I feel like I haven't looked all the way into it, but I feel like this is very much a passion project. Or maybe it's just a story he wanted to tell. But it resonates around this 15-year-old boy, and I'm going to do my best not to tell on myself a bunch here. But the trials and a lot of the trials and tribulations that this 15-year-old boy is going through in this picture spoke to me. Spoke directly to me. Now, Cooper Hoffman plays Gary Valentine, a child actor, 15 at the time when we get to him. Child actor, seems to be somewhat successful. He's kind of aging out of his age bracket, or I should say growing out of his age bracket. You'll see when you watch it. But a very industrious young lad. Like he gets stuff done. He's using all of his charm and whatever notoriety he has gained to allow himself to move around this world in ways most 15-year-old boys don't. I think it being based in the 1970s has a lot to do with that. There are all sorts of things missing or present at that time period that would allow a 15-year-old boy to move the way he moves, right? But I gotta say, so much of what he was going through in specific relationships speak directly to me and what I was going through when I was 15. And so much of it is shot from his perspective. I feel like the storyline, for the most part, is told from his perspective, or at least my life experiences hear it through his perspective. see it through his perspective. And it just left me floored, man. Floored. There's one scene in the first 10 or 15 minutes where if you are Gary Valentine, you react the way he reacted. If you have ever been a 15-year-old boy and the circumstances lead up to that scene in the first 15 minutes, you react how Gary Valentine reacts. There's no way around it. And it was so wonderful. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I could not believe it. It was really interesting to me how they managed to capture so much of what I understood in this film. And I'm not seeing a lot of myself in this film visually, but the thoughts and the ideas and the reactions and the emotions are all there. And I said I wasn't going to tell on myself too much, but it also makes me wonder how many of my friends were going through those exact same emotions, but because we're boys, we never once discussed it. We never, or at least I didn't, but we never said, hey man, how do you feel when this thing happens? You know what I mean? When you had this conversation with so-and-so and then this happened and then your knees touched or your pinky finger touched her pinky finger. You know what I mean? We didn't have any of these conversations, and I really wish we did. I don't know if it would have made anything easier or harder, but it would have been cool to know you're not just experiencing all of those things by yourself, just on an island. But, I mean, it was just a stunning film. To even take it more inside, more to me, they spend a good portion of this film selling waterbeds. There are machinations that are happening, and these people end up selling waterbeds, right? I had a waterbed. As a teenager. And I got rid of the waterbed at some point. I think there was a move. I don't really remember how I became without a waterbed, but it happened. And I'm okay with it happening. I'm okay with the fact that it happened. However, even before I saw this movie, there have been many a time where I've thought, I wish I had my waterbed. I wish I still had my waterbed, because they're really comfy. They're not the most practical. It's hard to get out of a waterbed. It's not easy to get in a waterbed. But if you've been in a waterbed, I think you love a waterbed. This movie was just shooting at me from all angles. It just did not give me a chance to breathe. It said, listen, this is not quite your life, but this is sort of your life. It was really wild. It also included one of the best stunt driving scenes I've ever seen in my whole life. Okay? One of the best. And this was not your typical high-speed car chase. And as action movies continue to grow and develop, and they know they need to push the boundaries, and they start doing car chases through Rome and in buildings and out of buildings, and watch Fast and the Furious if you want to see some wild car chases. Fine. That's not what this was. This was not a chase. This was an evasion, a fleeing. This was a get us to safety kind of situation. And it involves a big truck, a lot of hills, and a third piece I'm going to let you find out for yourself. But boy, amazing. And what was great about it is the driver, Alana Haim, our co-star or star, showed the level of focus while she was performing the stunt driving. I doubt she was actually driving, because who would put all those actors in real peril to perform this stunt? But she was giving me Kill Bill Beatrix Kiddo in the back of the pussy wagon telling herself to wiggle her big toe. If you've seen Kill Bill, you remember the focus in Beatrix Kiddo's eyes, trying to get her to wiggle that big toe. And Alana was given that same vibe when she was performing this task of driving that big ass truck through these hills. Guys, this movie can't stop, won't stop. Like, you get moments where you can breathe, but it's only to catch your breath. Because when the characters are on screen, you just don't know what they're going to say. You're waiting for every bated breath. It was just a lovely, lovely film. I mean, aside from the two pieces I mentioned off the top where I was a little bit like, why are these in here? And I'm watching it again. They didn't pay off. I don't know why they're there. But outside of them, every single scene, the ups, the downs, the cringes, everything, amazing. Power of the Dog, Don't Look Up, Dune. I was not high on any of them to win Best Picture. But Licorice Pizza can get it. I'm doing this show. You would probably assume I've got an affinity for the Oscars. I do have a lot of like for the Oscars. I would watch the Oscars religiously. If it wasn't available to watch it live, I'd hit the PVR or the VCR back in the day, and I'd get my Oscars watched. And then the Oscars and Kevin Hart had a little fight, and that went away, and then I went away too. It wasn't a boycott. It was just like, what are you guys doing? Do you guys have any idea what you're actually doing? And so I pushed away. Licorice Pizza is good enough that I would watch the Oscars just in hopes of getting to watch any of those actors, any of those filmmakers receive that trophy and give an acceptance speech. I would. It was phenomenal. Only since The Departed, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jack Nicholson, Matt Damon, all of them, only since The Departed did I watch a movie and immediately wonder, when am I going to watch this movie again? How many times can I watch this movie before I get sick of it? I think I've seen The Departed double digits now. Still not sick of it. I don't think I can get sick of Licorice Pizza. I don't even feel like I've done Alana Haim enough justice. Like, this young lady, this woman, so, like, when she's on the screen, you cannot take your eyes off of her. The magnetism to this woman during this film, charisma this woman has in front of the camera is palpable. You can feel it. You can't look away. It's impossible. And I'm just so excited to see what else she does. The movie actually stars her sister, her other sister, her mom, and her dad are all in the picture. They all play family. That was a nice treat to find out after the fact. And then her co-star, Gary Valentine, played by Cooper Hoffman, I find out after the fact, is Philip Seymour Hoffman's son. Rest in peace to Philip Seymour Hoffman. I was a big-time Philip Seymour Hoffman fan. I did not know he had a son. And I am not surprised that his son is as good at acting as this boy was. Stunned. Would he have been that good as an introduction to me without Alana? I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to find out. I'm watching it for the second time in 2 days. You should too. Licorice Pizza. Thank you. F1 is back. F1 is back. F1 is back, y'all. Thank goodness. F1 is back. It's been a long few months. Long few months. But F1's back. We got some changes. We got some changes. George Russell has left Williams. He's become a part of Mercedes. Valtteri Bottas has been shunned from Mercedes. He's with Alfa Romeo. He's got a new teammate, newcomer to F1, Guan Yu Zhou. And then at Haas, we have Mick Schumacher, and we no longer have Nikita Mazepin, whose family is a little bit wrapped up in the war, Russia, Ukraine. He's boys with Putin. His dad's boys with Putin's, and F1 said, "Hey, Mazepin, you gotta hit the bricks, man. We can't. It's too hot. I know we took your money last season. We let all that money circulate from the same people that was gonna circulate from this year, but some things have happened, and now that's all wrong. So you gotta go." So they kicked out Mazepin, and they brought back Kevin Magnussen from a couple seasons ago. I think that's all the changes. Oh, no. And Williams now has Nicholas Latifi still, the Canadian, but they've added Alex Albon from the Red Bull racing team. He's in their academy, test driver, all that stuff, but now he's got a seat. I think that covers all the moves. Leading into this season, we got all the drama from last season. The race director, Michael Massey, is out, as you may have heard on the podcast I did before with my girl Bex. And F1 has finally released some of what they were talking about in all those off-season meetings, given the drama of the fallout of some of the decisions Mr. Massey made to give the championship to Verstappen. They have changed some of the safety car rules. They've changed some of the wording because they feel, I guess, that wording left some holes and some cracks for some people to make some decisions as they felt. And it's almost an admission that what happened shouldn't have happened. I feel better about this. I do. I got to say I feel better about it. But we'll see. Who knows? They could still feel some pressure for some competition. Now, I have not yet gotten into Drive to Survive. I understand many of the people have. Good for you. I understand they released it a week before the season started so as to trump up interest for the upcoming season. I care, but I don't care. You know, like, I watched the season, all of it. Everything I could. I watched it all. I know probably about 80 to 90% about what's going to be in Drive to Survive. I'm going to watch it. I'm still excited to watch it. I just don't need to watch it right before the season comes. You know, when they make their schedules and they add in 3-week breaks, 2-week breaks in between races, that's when we need Drive to Survive. That's when I need it, right? When I'm longing for F1, when I haven't been able to put any F1 into my bloodstream, right? Because they're on vacation or a break. They're getting their rest and relaxation like they should be. Then I need a little taste. I need a little F1. So then I go get the Drive to Survive. I've been waiting 3-4 months for F1 to come back. Don't give me Drive to Survive the week before. Get a hold of yourselves, man. But you're probably not trying to reach me. You're probably trying to reach all the people that heard about all the drama. And now they're like, oh my God, what happened last season? Let me get some. And they're like, okay, here's Drive to Survive. But it's back. They got new cars. Nobody knows what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. Drama. The weirdest thing I've seen this week comes from tennis. I don't mean to make a spectacle out of these gentlemen, right? But one of the things I love about tennis is you could be anybody. You could be anybody to make it in tennis. You could be anybody to make it as a world-class tennis player. Now, that doesn't mean anybody could go win championships, right? But that doesn't mean they're not the only world-class tennis players, the people winning championships. There's a lot of people on tour making a very good living as a doubles tennis player, even as singles tennis players, right? Making a very good living, probably could set up generations of their families moving forward with what they're doing on the tennis court, right? You don't have to be the tallest. You could be short. You don't have to be the fastest. You don't have to be the strongest. You don't even have to have the best footwork or hand-eye coordination. Your hand-eye coordination probably needs to be pretty good. But there's a lot of room. There's a lot of room for all sorts of people to become professional tennis players, and good ones at that. Now, with that said, I watched a match the other day between John Isner and Diego Schwartzman. Now, John Isner, you may have heard him or seen him. He's been in some matches before that have gone some time. He had a match in Wimbledon that lasted a few days. I believe the final score was something like 50-48 in the fifth set, okay? John Isner is about 6'10". That's damn near 7 feet, if you math bad. Diego Schwartzman is, I believe, 5'5". I saw a picture. I'm going to see if I can put it online for you guys or put it on the YouTube. But I saw a picture of these two guys standing next to each other. They decided to both hold rackets up over their head. Diego Schwartzman comes up to John Isner's belly button. With his racket outstretched over his head, it barely reaches above John Isner's head. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you reach your arm up over your head with a racket, there aren't many people in this world whom that racket barely gets over their head. And you don't have to play any of them in a tennis match. You know what I mean? So I'm watching this match. John Isner is this giant man on one side of the court. And then you got Diego Schwartzman, who looks like someone let their child, the strongest child you've ever seen, run around on the court. And for some reason, this particular match, this man had on neon green shorts and neon pink shirt. And he looked like the fastest, strongest little man skittle you've ever seen in your whole life. My goodness. Tennis just doesn't quit. It's always giving. You got the young ladies coming up. You got Naomi Osaka making a comeback. And you got the giant and the skittle man playing tennis together. It's wonderful. And with that, thank you very much for joining me on another episode of It's in the Details. As always, remember to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see y'all in a week. Take care. Peace.